Welcome everyone. My name is Arnaud and I'm with Justin, and we basically want to talk about using AI in open source projects. I think the previous talk was about basically the case in Cilium. Us is going to be about Kubernetes, how we want to tackle it. So the first thing is we don't want to talk about basically how Kubernetes can be better run AI workloads. We are focused on the contribution on the Kubernetes project. So yeah, the goal will be, I think we're trying to basically confirm that we can use Gen AI for code, because we know in the Kubernetes code base, we see commit generated by Cloud Code or Gemini. So I think we should not talk about yes or no, do we want to use Gen AI, but more like publicly confirm that we use Gen AI. Also, where do we draw the line between the relationship between those bots? Is do I want to build a just an AI bot for everything inside KK? Would be great, maybe. It's and ultimately come to try to build some kind of Gen AI policy we can apply to everyone. I think this game. Again, it's more it's a follow-up on the previous conversation, so yeah.
Yeah, and we do want it to be a listening session, so we had more slides. We've condensed the slides greatly, you'll be pleased to hear. We want to hear from each of you. Basically, if you have views on how we should think about AI in Kubernetes, please speak up. And the goal is, can we reach some sort of agreement? Right now, we sort of have a tentative de facto policy. Can we sort of more formalize that? Can we find something that everyone can agree on that works for everyone, basically, and enables us to be productive?
So the first constraint we have to deal with is legal, because any contribution to the Kubernetes project basically require you sign the CLA. So how we make an AI agent to contribute to Kubernetes by signing the CLA. There's legal matters to the problem. So the question is assuming a code generated by AI is pushed to any Kubernetes project, there's an assumption that anyone signed the CLA. So there's a notion of copyright grant, patent grant. So we assume that. But with that, do we need more AI contribution with the legal implication? Because I think there's a question of basically what's the legal impact to basically of that. Do we need more contribution? Or do we say, okay, because of the CLA, we don't want more Gen AI code base?
Right, I just mentioned we need the CLA for any PRs that come in. I think all your contributions are technically subject to the CLA, so maybe even your review comments, is my belief.
Yeah.
No AI can sign the CLA today. And so assuming that the PRs come in as a human, is there anything else we need above and beyond what we get from the human that contributes code subject to the CLA, whether or not they used AI? I think that's what we'll probably spend most of our time talking about. Let's just quickly go through, I think, 2 more slides, I think.
Yeah.
So there's also the DCO, which Kubernetes doesn't use, but other projects do. It's pretty similar. There's 3 alternate clauses. Most people will go under A, and it basically says something pretty similar to what the CLA says. Again, not lawyers, but I created this wholly or partially, and I have the right to submit it under the open source license indicated in the file. So Apache would be the traditional CNCF license.
So where do we draw the line with AI? The question is, one of the questions is, do we want that a bot driven by, let's say, DeepSeek is capable to do code review, trigger test, and merge pull requests? Because I feel like it's possible, depending on the use case. If we see in the Kubernetes code base a lot of pull requests about basically fixing typos. For example, it's there's bad English or British English or American English.
Hey.
Exactly. And people are basically trying to gamify the system
He did say bad English or British English. It wasn't or, it was the ABC options.
Yeah. So if someone say, okay, this is English, but in my perspective, I could basically open a pull request to, let's say, fix it. Why not basically delegate that to a bot to do that for you? And basically trust him to like, okay, let's just fix any typos in all the code base, but don't touch the code base. That's sort of like a prompt. We come down to basically information detail, prompt engineering, but we could say that an AI basically, okay, every day look over the code base, and if you see any typo in maybe French, fix it and merge it. Would that be great? We reduce, I mean, there's a significant impact because we say, okay, we have something because of the maintenance burden of the project, we have something running inside Google Cloud or AWS trying to fix it. Is it a good boundary for a project, or is it bad because we trust the bot to do that for us? And that's like an open question.
Right, and there's a continuum here, and we've started, with the least objectionable maybe, which is like,
Really?
we think it might be okay to LGTM a PR, because anyone can LGTM a PR. It might be less okay to approve a PR. Like, would we allow AIs to do KEP exceptions? What if we actually turned over the whole project to an AI? Like, is that a good idea? Presumably, like, there is a line, and the line is not lower than what we've drawn here. And so that is, I think, what we want to discuss today. We do have a roaming mic, or I will run the roaming mic, or we'll pass a mic around. But can we today reach the Atlanta AI agreement where we say, something like the CLA allows you to use AI to make your contribution, but you are responsible for it. You're responsible for it whether you use AI or not, whether you use Vim, whether you use Emacs, whether you use DeepSeek, whether you use Gemini, whatever it is. But you are responsible. And so implicitly, we're continuing to honor the implication of the CLA, the human-based responsibility model. Is that something which we can agree on? Do we want to go further? Do we want to go less far? And with that, I saw a first wave. Thank you, sir. I will grab a mic if we don't have one. Before you do, if you could say how you spell color, that would be very helpful. Find out whether you're British English or not. Oh.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Is it on now? No, try now.
Oh, yep, okay. I'm Canadian, so I can do it either way. But yeah, I think that there's no choice here. A human is submitting the PR and is responsible for the signing, and however they made it, your contributing guide should be guiding whether that was an okay PR or not. If you try to temper it or whatever, you're going to be caught up in the AI space race and you'll never keep up. That's my opinion.
Thank you. Anyone else? Anyone thinks we should go? Oh, there we go. And if anyone else thinks we should go further in the AI space race, let us know.
So did the LF say anything about using AI with CLAs? And is it fair to say that whoever launched the agentic task and is the author of that task is the author of the PR, and whatever CLA they signed is in force? Is that the case?
I'm not a lawyer, B, I'm not the Linux Foundation, and C, I'm very much speaking from like what I vaguely remember. But my recollection is that the LF has an AI policy that essentially says, yeah, it's okay, but as the person making the contribution, it's kind of on you to check that it hasn't infringed copyright, et cetera, and it advises people to use, apparently some of these tools have things you can turn on that will say, tell me where this code was copied from, that kind of thing. So they advise people to use whatever tooling to assist in that in that kind of declaration that, yeah, I have essentially created this code. Well, actually the AI did it on my behalf, but it's not copying somebody else. I'm going to say I think that policy is pretty like, yeah, okay, but which tools do you use and how confident do you have to be? It's not a very clear line, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, maybe it's transferring responsibility without telling them how exactly they should do that.
Yeah, I think when we talked about this on our repos, we thought about, well, what happens if somebody did it on purpose, right? What would we do? And then we think somebody would, the only way we would really know is somebody would notice, right? And they would tell us, and then we would fix it, and then we would put up the new code. It's almost like getting a CVE. So then we thought that's maybe the least stressful way for us to approach this, is that it's a person that submitted it, it's their responsibility. If they did something wrong, then we need to, hopefully we'll notice and fix it like responsible maintainers.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think on that front, so there was an incident in the Linux kernel a few years ago regarding legal copyright attribution and a rogue contributor. And my recollection is the result was effectively the maintainers of the Linux kernel had to go through every commit authored by that individual and get rid of the code and replace it with something that is not generated by the individual.
Was that AI or was that?
This was pre-AI. This was just a rogue contributor, traditional tooling. Easier now?
Easier, and perhaps easier to do accidentally is, I think, the concern, right?
And I guess as maintainers, that is a risk that we would ultimately have the burden of resolving.
But we do have that today as well.
But as he was saying, anybody can copy code that is copyrighted from, let's say, his company, whether intentionally or not, and say, hey, I make it a contribution. You have no way of knowing it. Kind of the same as with AI. Like, there's literally no way to verify if it's from where it is. So I would say that whether you allow it through AI or through a person that just wants to fix or add something, it's the same thing.
We could encourage companies that are worried about this to scan their employees' GitHub contributions, perhaps. Put the burden on them, right?
And then ask if they want to contribute. And when they come back to you that, hey, you infringed their whatever, ask them if they want to contribute to open source anyway.
Any other, how are we doing on time, Arnaud?
I think we talk about basically, we agree basically, yeah, we want, I don't think I would say want, but basically we face an hype where basically everyone wants to use AI. Assuming we want to use AI, the question is, can we allow it to do everything? Because the question is, where do we draw the line about this? It's like, do I want to, for example, have a bot to generate tests, unit tests, iterate tests, those kind of things? Like, why not make it happen? What are the blockers right now? Is it trust? Is it a technical blocker, those kind of things? Because in the case of Kubernetes, whether it's like, and because of we made that title, it was like, if someone submit code, the code is tested, right? We basically say, okay, I'm gonna upgrade a dependency in the KK repo, let's say Golang. When I ship my change, it's tested. When it's merged, it's because a human trusts that my change is good enough. Can we do the same with, I would say, Quen 3, for example? Is it possible? Is it the way? What are the technical blockers?
So I was thinking about the Kubernetes membership, like how you start with contributing, and then you apply for a membership, and then you gradually get promoted to reviewer and then approver. But for AI, because it's not a single person or a single entity, every AI performs differently. It also needs a human to prompt it first. So perhaps for approving or reviewing LGTM PR, it still needs to be behind a human. But for contributing, we should allow people to use AI because there's simply no easy way to block it.
I think we have time for a couple more, or lost track of time.
I think I was just really responding to that idea of, should we allow an AI to make code changes? Well, don't they have to build up the trust in the same way that a human has to build up the trust? And I think our experience so far has been that, and it's not necessarily just the AI, it is the combination of the AI plus the human writing the prompt and controlling it. But that combo, which is going to be in the name of a human, has to build up the trust that they can do a good contribution, whether it's AI. I think I'm kind of just kind of paraphrasing some conversations that we've had before. I don't think at Cilium we are ready to say that a contribution would be more likely to be accepted if it's been generated by AI. We might think the test, maybe there's some testing that could be good, but I don't think we've seen results from AI contributions that make us more confident than in the sort of human-only ones. Up to this point, obviously a very fast-moving field.
So Janet just reminded me about something. So in the Kubernetes project, we have this concept of we want to see some contributions before we consider accepting you to join the organization, right? The GitHub organization. If a contributor wanted to join, but most of the stuff was AI generated, how do we weigh his contributions? Was it all his, or did he have too much help or little help? How do we calculate that?
That's a doozy.
I agree with the question, but in practice, the contribution has to be useful. Most of AI contributions are either random, useless stuff, or no, I don't want to be bad, but it's like duplicate code that does the same thing that you are looking like, yeah, I mean, might be useful, but it won't make you look good when someone reviews your membership, right? Or some, text changes, corrections to, grammar or something. I would not give my +1 to someone that has these contributions, would you?
No.
So, but if someone uses AI to bring a meaningful contribution, I don't really care if he can use AI that well and can do this sort of things. I don't know. It's good luck. Do it in the future.
We have time for a couple more.
Just on that last point, I think that really depends on the developer and how they are using Gen AI right now. Because I know on my team, we have several of our best developers don't use AI too much. And then we have several of our best developers that use it from when they log in till they leave. They're always in a cursor window doing work. They, of course, are programming themselves, but interactively working with an AI all day. And they are so super productive, and they are still producing excellent code, and people don't know that it was as assisted as it is by AI. So that's where we're at. That's why I sort of keep trying to say is I don't know how we can know that when someone gets really good at this, you just don't know what they did or what the AI did, but they're making really great code come out.
Thank you. Something that stuck in my head was a question you asked about would we thinking about AI contributions that are perhaps automatically triggered rather than triggered by a human. So it's not a human using AI. It's a bot that maybe is doing code reviews, maybe is approving those grammar fixes that you get to various files, right? Something that I've been thinking about for a long time is we have, it's not dependent upon, it's one of the other ones, bumping all of our dependencies on crossplane. And we have never quite bit the bullet to be like, yeah, we'll just auto-approve all of these. But we also almost never have been like, oh, wow, that's one that we, unless it doesn't pass CI, we're like, yeah, just hit merge. So I wonder if there is a point where, another thing that I was kind of hearing was like, you have to build trust over time, right? I wonder if there is a point where you turn on the AI, let it give its non-binding approval for things, basically, and after you've seen it not mess up for 6 months, you're like, we've got 6 months of data here, I'm going to let it go, right? And then intuitively to me, I don't think I would trust it to actually be writing code, right? But then the next level to your like ladder that you pointed out was like, the code review bot that we use eagerly offers to add tests for everything that users add, right? I could imagine a case where we might say, okay, start proposing tests, and maybe after 6 months, it's written nothing but good tests, and we're like, oh, we wouldn't have actually rejected any of these, right? So maybe it is just kind of, you learn. I don't know, I'm not speaking to the legal side of things as to like, what do you do if some automated process is just adding code to your repo? But, can you trust AI to do these things? I could imagine a path to build up to at least the smaller things.
I think we are close to time, if not at time. As far as I know, we haven't heard any. I want to try to get to some conclusion, right? What will we put in the summary of this talk?
Yeah.
I think we all agree that humans are going to use AI. We agree that they continue to be covered by the CLA. I think we have maybe a legal question for the Linux Foundation as to whether and what specific concerns they have if they do use AI, and maybe some clearer guidelines on what exactly does it mean to check or do your due diligence. I think there's a valid question about the contributor ladder and how we deal with the implications of someone cheating on the exam, but then like what if they just stop using the AI in real life? Like would we revoke their privileges type thing? Is there anything else I've missed that we would want to But I think in general, we accept and welcome AI, people to use AI if they are more productive with AI, as long as they continue to be governed by the CLA, which they are already governed by. Any dissent? Anyone want to add? Thought I saw a hand.
I think we should try to conclude with basically what we want to do next. And I think the next thing is basically trying to draft a policy, like some kind of basically something that will define an agreement about everything we talk about over both talk, and basically trying to submit that to the CNCF community and get feedback and basically say, okay, we have one policy, if we're going to call it a policy, and basically trying to like see how it's used over the different projects, because not everyone want to be on the same side of usage, or basically maybe Kubernetes won't go further by building its own LLM, or the project might do different things. So it's like at least have a policy that define what we talk about now and see what's happening.
I agree. And it's not radically different, and we should get the Linux Foundation lawyers to make a very surgical decision on these sorts of things. Okay. Wonderful. Sounds like the Atlanta AI agreement has taken place, at least in as far as we could likely get it. So thank you all for your time.